What's up, B Squad? It's your boy JB, and we are here today, you guys, with another review for Sold on SLC Season 1, Episode 2. And I think this episode, let me make sure I have the title correct, but I know it was Thou Shalt. Let's double check before I get to line on this here channel. The episode 3 was titled, Thou Shalt Broker Peace. Now, before we get into it, if you guys are watching this video or any other video on the channel and you guys aren't subscribed yet, you guys know the routine. I need you guys to do me a solid favor and stop taking me out on this date and having me pay for it at the end of it. You guys know what to do. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on your post notifications, and also share the video. And with that out of the way, you guys, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this episode of Sold on SLC, shall we? All right, guys. Again, I'm loving this show. It's really good. I'm really enjoying it. Y'all know who I like the most on here, Tina. Tina is, I love her personality. I really, really do. Like, it's just something about her personality. It's when you see her on the screen, it's so infectious, and it just her happy energy and spirit makes you want to be happy, right? So the episode. So I'm gonna do Sold on SLC kind of like I do with Housewives, right? Since we have different people that we see different scenes with, that's what we'll do. So we'll start up where we last left off. And you guys, if you guys watched my review last week, or if you watched last week's episode, the episode ended with the conversation between Sarah, Chris, and Jen, right? And Chris is telling Jen that, he didn't really poach any of her agents, right? He didn't make the phone calls to him. He just does something. He does something completely different, right? And so Jen's whole thing was like, okay, well, you could have called me, you could have texted me, you could have said anything like that, right? But now here we are at this point, right? So Sarah is asking Jen, like, so me and you, girlfriend, where we go from here? And so Jen's whole thing was maybe she should scale back on business with Sarah. And then she says, you know what, we just need to work on our communication. And I was like, see, Jen, you're a better person than I could ever be. Because here's my thing, right? Here's Tina, I know you watch. Let me know, do y'all have non-competes that y'all people sign? Because I would think that would, because a lot of this stuff seems like a conflict of interest, and I think you would just have a non-compete. Because it'll come up again, because something like this is going to happen again later in the episode, but I would just think that you would have a non-compete clause or something, right? You have something in place so that way things of this nature don't necessarily happen, right? But that's that. So they're good, and we're gonna go ahead and move on to the next person, right? So actually what we're gonna do, because Tina is next, but I'm actually gonna save Tina for last. So let's move over to Matt. So we see Matt and Kenny, right? Matt and Kenny, I saw them taking their shirts off. I was like, girl, what in the homoerotic shit is going on here? So they're taking their shirts off, and we see them as they did you guys know the ice baths, right? So that's kind of what it was similar to. I was like, ain't no, and especially in Salt Lake City, when it said that there was 45 degrees outside, I'm not gonna sit there and dip my body, and then in wet clothes at that, dip my wet ass body in some cold ass water. Absolutely not gonna happen. But they did that, right? So we also find out through King in his interview. So I guess you can say Matt is a little messy, but I mean, I kind of figured that from last week's episode. Now, they did talk about Sarah's opening. Actually, no, Sarah has another opening that she has coming up, right? So Matt is telling, no, it's the one from last week's episode. So Matt is telling Kenny about what happened between him and Tina, right? He says he wants to smooth things over and move forward. So Kenny says to Matt that he's never saw a bad side to Tina, and Matt is talking about the fact that he doesn't trust her and he's keeping her at arm's length. I was like, well, sir, I believe she's probably doing the same thing to you. And it's interesting to me, and Tina, like y'all know, I told you, me and Tina, we follow each other on Instagram. We talk in the DMs, right? And Tina told me, keep it real with her, and all of a sudden when she, call her out, and don't be afraid to, which I won't. The thing that I have a problem with is it's Matt. I'm not saying, I'm not necessarily saying that because Tina says that her best friend said this to her, right? So I know Tina believes that believes her best friend, and believe her best friend wouldn't lie to her, and I think we would all want to believe that, right? And I'm not saying that, and listen to me and listen to me clearly, you guys. I'm not saying that her best friend lied to her. What I'm saying is, it's the fact that he is, he's a contradiction, because he's saying he ain't said nothing about Tina, right? But you keep, in last week's episode, you were talking about the fact that you don't like Tina. In this week's episode, you're saying that you don't trust Tina and you keep Tina at arm's length. So if I'm to believe what you're saying, that you never had this conversation with anybody about Tina, then your track record so far in 2 episodes ain't really saying you wouldn't say anything like that about Tina, because you've now said things about Tina in 2 episodes. And like I was saying a minute, what I was saying is it's a 50-50 possibility, right? It could be, Matt could be telling, there's an off chance that Matt could be telling the truth. And then, so it's like, because Tina wasn't there, so she's going, again, like I said, she's going off the word of her best friend. And when you think about your best friends, you don't believe that your best friends will lie to you, right? And I'm choosing to believe that Tina's best friend wouldn't lie to her either, and wouldn't start shit unnecessarily. That's where I'm sticking. That's where I'm sitting at and where I'm standing coming from, right? Because then, like I said, going back to Matt, and it's so far in 2 episodes, your track record shows you do talk about Tina. Like, let's just be real with the situation. You do talk about Tina. You said that you don't trust her. You're keeping her at arm's length. You said and then you said something about her in the first episode. So if I was a betting man and you're gonna ask me who am I betting on between Matt and Tina, I'm gonna bet on Tina. And I'm not betting on Tina because I like Tina. I'm betting on Tina because of Matt and the things that he says that are very much so inconsistent. So let's move on, you guys. Next up, we see Sarah. So Sarah is, having a broker opening, right? Or I think she's she's having a broker opening, right? So we see her as she's at the home, and, she's praying. And I'm all here for prayer, right? I'm all here for it. And then she tells us a story in her interview about when she was in Brazil and how these guys came up to her with, the blickies on them. Her and her father got in the car and she started praying, and the men were like, whoa, ma'am, we ain't gonna hurt you. So they just basically stole their jewelry, right? And she feels like God was with her. I absolutely agree with that. So after that, everybody is going to a broker opening, right? So we see as Tina's there, Tina's there, Matt's there. I feel like Kenny was there. I could be wrong, right? But Tina, when she got there, she didn't speak to Matt. And I don't blame her. I really, truly don't. I'm sorry. I'm not going to go out of my way to speak to somebody that I've heard has been talking shit about me to people, my friends, and possibly people that I want to work with. So I don't blame you, Tina. I wouldn't do it either, right? Actually, let me think about that. Because I'm a petty person. I'm petty. I'm King Petty. Would I have spoken to Matt? Would I have spoken to Matt? I would. And probably what I would have done is when Matt came up to me, I'm like, you know we don't fuck with each other, right? So what are you speaking to me for? And I know this a business, I know that's professional in business, but I'm like, you and I don't see it for each other like that, so we don't really have to have a conversation. And then he came and got Tina and he wanted to have a side conversation with Tina. I would have, in that particular moment, I would have like, you know what, man, this is a business setting. What are you and I having a personal conversation for? Nigga, get away from me. Oh, yeah, if anybody is offended, I do say the N word. Sorry, not sorry. But yeah. So I would have told him, like, get the hell away from me. Like, I'm not gonna have no conversation with you. But Tina is better than me because she wouldn't have had the conversation with him. Again, Tina, you definitely better than me because that conversation would have went a different way if it was me. So Matt is telling Tina, you know, actually no, she's telling him that, you know, she's heard so much, and then, you know, he's trying to flip it. It's like he's still saying he didn't say anything, right? Because he says he didn't say anything. He wants to let things go, and then he's sitting here saying, "Oh well, this must have been like a game of telephone." How, a game of telephone, sir? Is that the best you could come up with? That this must be a game of telephone? Okay, Matt, whatever. A game of telephone. It's not like she said, well, I heard this from somebody who heard this from somebody who heard this from somebody. That's not what she said. She specifically said to you, she's heard that you've said these things about her. She didn't say, well, my best friend told me this, and then they told me that they heard this from that person, and then that person said that they got it from this person who got it from you. It's not a game of telephone when it's coming from one person. You said something to her best friend. Her best friend then came back and told her. That's not telephone. Well, it is telephone, right? It is telephone, but you guys know what I mean. What he's trying to say about telephone is the message is getting distorted, right? But I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. Run that back. You just contradicted yourself there, buddy. Because you said that somebody must have said something to somebody that said something to somebody else. So that means you have said something about her. That means you have said some things about Tina. You're catching yourself up in lies, sir. So this is why I say, Tina, you're better than me, friend. You're better than me. Because I would have bust him in the fucking face. I'm sorry. Because when she was telling him what is like for her being a black woman in a Mormon community at that. You're better than me and you're stronger than I am. Because there is just no way in hell I could be in the Mormon society. I'm sorry, y'all. Again, y'all know me. Y'all know how I feel about the Mormons. I've said it plenty of times. With Salt Lake City, I said it with Love at the Lockup when Andrea, that black woman, Andrea was on Love at the Lockup and she was a black Mormon. I have said my grievances when it comes to that damn church. Nothing personal against you Mormons. I just don't see it for your church. Because your church didn't see it for me and my skin color, right? My skin tone. Y'all thought that this was cursed. This isn't cursed. Nothing about being black to me is cursed. It's an honor and a privilege for me to be a black man. I love my black skin. I'm always love my black skin that I'm in. You know how some people be like, oh, I wish I could come if I could live in another life and live this way, I would be this. And if we are reincarnated, baby, I want to come back in every lifetime as a black man. Hell, I even come back as a black woman. But God, if we do come back in any form, make sure that I'm black. Make sure that I am black. Nothing else but black. And that is all I got to say, right? So while she's talking to him, he got a smirk and a smile on his face. This is why I say she better than me, because I would have just whop. Oh, you think it's funny? That was funny that I just slapped that smirk off your face. I would, ooh, but he was trying to get under her skin, and I'm glad that Tina didn't give him what he wanted. She did cuss him out. She did go off on him, but I'm glad that she didn't give him what he really, what I felt like he really wanted. That angry black woman stereotype. I'm glad you didn't give it to him. Let's move on, you guys. So next up, we got Kenny. I do like Kenny, right? I do like Kenny. What I will say when it comes to Kenny, and it just goes for no, this don't. It does go. You guys know, when it comes to me, I believe in God. I don't go to church and stuff like that, but I do believe in the Lord. I do believe in God. I do believe in all of that stuff. I do have my questions, but I believe in it nonetheless. But the fact that them kids was, oh God, those are his kids. I just know that for me, when I have kids, if I do have kids, I'm gonna let my kids make their decision for themselves what they want to do when it comes to religion. If they want to go to church, that's on them. Because honestly, because if you listen, especially if you listen to a lot of ex-Mormons, it seems like it was forced upon them, right? Like for me, I was baptized. I grew up a Baptist, and then I switched to Kojic, right? But the Baptist was not my choice, right? Growing up Baptist was not my choice. It was my mom's choice. But we didn't, after I was baptized, it ain't like we went to church every single Sunday. Well, at one point we did go to church every Sunday, and I hated it. But it got to a point where we stopped going, so we didn't go every Sunday, right? We would go every other Sunday, and I liked that. Then when I switched to Kojic, that was literally my choice, right? I chose to join that church. Nobody forced me to. Nobody asked me to. It was a choice. It was a personal choice of mine. Granted, I did go to church every Sunday with my grandmother. Now, by that point, I didn't go sit here and say I enjoy going to church, but it wasn't like a chore at that. It wasn't like I would just. No, I still hate waking up early in the morning to go to church. Never mind. Let me stop lying, because I just. But like I said, going Kojic, that was my personal choice. Nobody said you need to do this. Nobody said you had to do this. But this is, see him with his kids. He seems like he does. I'm not gonna sit here and say he doesn't seem like a good father, because he does, right? We find out that he and his wife, they've known each other since they were in high school. I just kind of cringed at them kids with the Bible and all that kind of stuff and reciting. No, I think my grievance with that is the church. It's that Mormon church, because this is gonna sound so offensive to some, but I've said this plenty of times with Salt Lake City, so y'all know how I feel about it. I think the Mormon church is a cult. I literally do. I believe that that's a cult. The fact that when someone leaves the church, they're excommunicated, like their family doesn't fuck with them, I think that that's just weird. That's not the Christian and godly way. That's not the word that I know. I don't know what kind of book they read from, so. But it is what it is, right? We also did see him with his kids riding motorized bikes, and then we see him with Jen, as he's trying to get into the luxury market, because he and his wife are expecting a fourth baby, right? So he's trying to dip his toe into the luxury market. Now, what I will say about you, Kenny, I like you, right? Like I said, I like you. You got to work on that pitch. Because if I were in that man's position and he were trying to sell a house to me, I would have looked at Jen and like, is this his first home that he's selling? Because he was so nervous. I would have been like, yeah, no, Jen, no thanks. So let's go ahead and move on, you guys. So next up, we move over to Jen. So we see Jen. So she has this home that she is asking for Malaysia's help with, right? So Malaysia tells her that she has a buyer in mind, And so Jen is saying that she wants to have a broker opening. And so they also had a conversation about what happened with Tina and Matt. So then later in the episode, we see as they went out for drinks, right? And it's interesting. So sorry, Tina. I meant to say Malaysia. So Malaysia she's a Mormon, but she's not a practicing Mormon. And I got a lot of questions when it comes to that. How does that work? I mean, like, I know I'm a practicing Christian, but I don't go to church. But Christians don't have these strict ass stipulations about not drinking and all this kind of stuff. It's just, that's why I said that shit is a goddamn cult. Then on top of that, Jen said that I really felt Jen in this particular moment when she said that her mom forgets her birthday. And I was like, it just does, it never makes sense in my brain when I hear somebody say, oh, I forgot your birthday, especially a woman, to kids they gave birth to. I was like, I want to ask, like, bitch, what? I know you were on drugs, but bitch, how dumb are you? Bitch, you can't be that oblivious. Bitch, a baby came out of your vagina. And in Tina, and I keep wanting to say Tina, in Jen's mama's case, bitch, twins came out of you. Girl, how the f you forget that day that you pushed out twins? That's kind of like with me. When I was, I think, 13, it was just before my 13th birthday, my biological mother said to me that now see, at least your mama said she forgets your birthday. Mine went one worse. My biological mother tells me she gets my birthday confused with my cousin. And I looked at her. I was like, and I didn't say it to her in that moment, but I went home to my mom and I was like, do you know she told me she gets my birthday confused with my cousin? And my mother who raised me, she was like, she ain't forget your birthday. She just said that. I was like, she was pretty adamant that she gets it confused with me and my cousin. Now, unless you were pregnant with me and him at the same time, and you gave birth to me on July 16th, and then you came back and gave birth to him on July 20, his birthday is either the 22nd, 23rd, or the 24th, which is a whole week later. So unless you gave birth to me on the 16th, your water broke for me, but your water didn't. I guess you must have had two waters that you must have two waters, right? One for me, one for him. So I'm guessing your water broke for me on the 16th, and then they sent you home, and then you went back a week later, and they're like, oh shit, bitch, you got another baby in there that you've been having in there for a whole week. Let's take him out. Shut up. Like that's but yeah, that's neither here nor there. So we also find out that with Malaysia, she had her first child at 19 years old. I think she and her husband are high school sweethearts as well. They did talk about this girl named Paige. So Paige used to work for Jen, but she no longer works for Jen. She in Malaysia actually left Jen's company, went where they thought the grass was greener, but then Malaysia ended up coming back and Paige didn't come back. We also see that Paige and Jen don't necessarily get along with each other, right? So then after that, we see as Jen has over Tina and Matt. So Jen brought up the fact that Tina's having a party for BJ. So BJ is Tina's girlfriend, right? And so Tina had forgot about the party. I was like, damn, not she forgot her party. Not she forgot the woman's party. So Tina, all I'm gonna say to you in this scene is Matt's not gonna own up to anything that he said or done. So I think what's gonna be best for you moving forward is just, you see him we see each other, right? You see him for who he is. Do keep the business professional. I mean, you can say it's a little slick, shady comments towards him. I'm fine with that, but he not gonna own up to it. Just let it go. It really ain't even worth it. Just let it go. Like Elsa said, let it go. Just let it go. Let it fly. Because he gonna continue to lie. Because I do honestly believe that he is lying. Survey says he's lying. But yeah, that's that. So then after that, you guys, we move over to Malaysia. So Malaysia met up with Paige. You guys, when I tell you I hollered at this damn scene with her and Paige, when Paige literally sat down, that girl broke the fourth wall, telling the producers, "Ooh, y'all filming me from my bad angle." And they panned right to the cameraman. I said, damn. That was hilarious, right? So Malaysia is letting Paige know about this listing that Jen has, right? And their buyer who is interested in it. So Paige is kind of wondering if she and Jen, not Jen, yeah, she and Jen are in a good space. No. Jen don't see it for you. I don't know if Paige is playing this up for the cameras, that she wants Jen to win or not, because the way that Jen talks, it ain't that way. But that's it, you guys. So let's go ahead, move back up to Tina and wrap up the episode, you guys. So with Tina. So Tina in this episode, opening up the scene of hers, we see BJ who's making Tina tea. BJ's a very attractive woman. Her daughter, cute young lady, beautiful. So Tina is talking about the fact of, which I've heard this stereotype before, right? I just literally thought it was a stereotype because she said that she's a U-Haul lesbian. So if you guys don't know what that, if you guys don't know what it is, I'll explain it to you, right? So a U-Haul lesbian, right? It's pretty simple. They meet each other, and it's pretty quickly that they meet each other, and one of them got a U-Haul from their place to the girlfriend's place, right? So Tina says that that's the case with she and BJ. They're U-Haul lesbians, right? They're super cute. So she's getting on BJ for eating in the bed, and I was like, ugh. So let me see. I do eat in the bed. Not often, right? But there are days where it's like it's end of the night, and I don't want to sit in here at my island or on my couch because I actually have the little TV trays. So I don't be like, I don't want to sit in here. I'm like, I'm ready to go to bed. I just want to lay in bed, and sometimes I will sit there and eat in my bed. Not all the time, but a good chunk of time. But like, if I were to, 20% of the time I do that. So BJ asked about Matt. All we're gonna say about Matt is 1, 2. That's all I gotta say about Matt, because he's a piece of shit. Like, I'm sorry. I can see right through him, right? So we see as everybody's showing up to the party. So we meet Tina's dad. Now, this is Tina's stepfather. Because when he came in, I was looking at him. I was like, is this a white man or is this a light-skinned black man? Like, I couldn't figure it out until she said that's her stepdad. And I was like, okay. But either way go, he's still her dad, because, she said when she came out as gay, he was like, okay, we're going to do this together. We in this together, right? When she had her period for the first time. Okay, like, we're in this together, right? I'm paraphrasing because she said something else. I just forgot what she said, right? So we also found out that BJ, hasn't really celebrated her birthday. And when she said that, I was like, BJ must be a Jehovah's Witness. Because if you guys, I have an aunt who was a Jehovah's Witness. Didn't celebrate not now holiday. But one thing she was notorious for doing is on New Year's Eve, she would have my grandmother cook for her. And I'd be like, girl, why are you cooking for her? She don't want to celebrate the holiday. Rest in peace, Auntie. Love you. And Big Mama. Love you. So, Kenny, sir, hell no. When you presented BJ with that damn mouse, Tina, that would have been the point where I would have showed him the door. Like, you and this mouse can go the hell out my house. Baby, that mouse, that little cage he had for that mouse, I would have told him, this cage, this mouse can go back to where you came from. A fucking mouse? Bitch, hell no. Hell to the no. So you guys, after that, this is where the shit hit the fan. This is why I asked, like, they ain't got no non-compete clauses, because Jen found out that buyer that Malaysia got is coming from Paige. So then we see now Kenny. I clocked you. I was like, oh, Kenny being a little messy. Kenny getting the shit started, right? So Kenny is looking out for Jim, but he's getting the mess started. I thought it was also funny that inside, BJ and Tina them were talking about what they think that they having a conversation about, because they think they having a conversation about the mouse, but that ain't what they having a conversation about, right? Now, Jen, I do like you, right? I really do. But they did show that flashback clip, and she did tell you that was Paige's client, right? Now, when she didn't tell you that she still got five clients with her or whatever, and I was like, girl, you ain't tell her that? You might as well have stayed with you may as well have stayed with Miss Paige until business was done. Like, that just it definitely sounds unethical, but I'm like, wouldn't that be a non-compete? That would be a non-compete. But that's it, you guys. Let me know what you guys thought about the episode down in the comment section below. Subscribe to the channel, turn on your post notifications, share the video, and until next time, you guys stay safe, take care of yourselves, wash your hands, be blessed, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.